A drug some experts are saying is the new fentanyl because of how quickly it's exploding in communities across the country. It's called Xylazine, also known as Tranq. It's an animal tranquilizer with flesh-eating side effects. It's being mixed with other drugs like heroin, but it doesn't respond to the life-saving overdose treatment, Narcan. You know, this is the stuff they want to put in your kid's backpack. It's already been blamed for thousands of overdoses as experts try to catch up and keep track of the spiking trend. Doctors don't really know how to test for it, making this drug all the more dangerous. So I went to Detroit, where the cases are on the rise, to learn more. Now, a warning, some of these images are graphic, but we want to show you the reality of this alarming problem. Watch. Americans have become all too familiar with the word fentanyl, and now a new deadly, horrifying drug is emerging in some of America's cities. It's called Xylazine.
Xylazine it's a non-opioid medication. It's specifically used for veterinary medicines, so it's not approved for human use, but it's used as an analgesic, anesthetic, and a sedative for sort of larger animals like horses. But it's been making its way around in the illicit drug supply.
Dr. Vohra, a toxicologist and leading expert on the lethal substance in Michigan, has witnessed firsthand just how dangerous Xylazine is.
Central nervous system depression, so sort of people looking sedated. So they call it zombie drug for a reason. Pinpoint pupils, just like opioids cause. And you'll have respiratory depression as well, so where people have trouble breathing, where they eventually will stop breathing if left untreated. Now, the exact mechanism isn't quite definitively established, but chronic users have been found to have these nasty skin ulcerations, which are quite painful.
The testing and treatment are far behind the rapid spread of this drug, exploding in major cities across the country. What can be used to counter it? Because Narcan doesn't work, right?
Right, exactly. So it is a non-opioid, right? But even though it causes similar signs and symptoms for a lot of what opioids cause, naloxone will typically not work. So typically it's just supportive, symptomatic and supportive care. So you're going to be watching the patient's blood pressure, their heart rate, making sure that their airway's protected, and just monitoring those intensely.
Are people aware of what they're taking?
Well, like fentanyl, the fentanyl trend, users may be seeking it out now that they know that it could augment their high, right? So users could be experiencing what we call physiological tolerance, where it takes more of a drug to produce the same effect. So if there's something new added into the mix to augment that, they could be seeking that out.
Crisis front and center on law enforcement's radar. In his courtroom, Michigan District Judge Gregory Clifton saw firsthand the damage addiction can cause and is taking action. Judge, you've developed a reputation for caring about these people that are addicted to the drugs. Where does this passion come from?
Came in with a harder outlook. I thought people that use drugs were essentially criminals. Over time, that no, they're not bad people. They're sick people that need help, and that's what drove me to look for resources on how we could help them, change their lifestyle.
You have these pictures of young people that we've lost because of their addiction. Why does that hit home for you?
Reminds me and motivates me how important my job is, because somebody could lose their life. And honestly, I've made a few bad decisions, release somebody when I should not have, and I find out down the road that they're no longer with us. So I have to remind myself every day that I have to do the right thing.
Asa, I still wait for him to walk through the door. And at night, I still think that I hear the door open and that.
She lost two sons to this addiction. Joining me now, former DEA Special Agent Derek Maltz. Special Agent, thank you so much, as always, for joining us. The first thing I want to ask is, where's this drug coming from?
Well, as you know, LJ, the drug is a pharmaceutical drug that the veterinarians are using, right? It's being made to, provide sedation, anesthesia, and in some cases as a tranquilizer to horses. I mean, it's being used as a tranquilizer in horses, and now these poor Americans are ingesting it in their body. It's causing mass amounts of problems and deaths in many states, as you reported.
Why is it so addictive?
Well, look, they're mixing it, they're making speedballs. They're mixing it with fentanyl. Fentanyl is so addictive. It's a synthetic drug. It's not a plant-based drug. It's made in laboratories. As you know, because Fox has reported, so many stories about the overdoses and the mass poisonings in America. But the kids and these addicted people are going to get these intense highs. I don't know why. The country has a lot of anxiety right now. People are depressed. I was in Kensington, Philadelphia about 3 months ago, and I saw stuff that I've never seen in my entire career. I worked DEA 28 years. I saw people, hundreds of people, laying on the street, injecting needles in their feet, in their legs, in their arms, underneath their arms, right? Each other, they were popping each other in the neck. And it was really sad, LJ. One thing I can't understand is that we're sending billions of dollars overseas to Ukraine, and we have citizens in our country living in the streets that are dying. And there's no warnings, there's no education. This Xylazine is coming up quickly. We had, like, 2019, CDC did a study, states had drug deaths linked to Xylazine. But the American public has no idea, just like they have no idea that nitazine, isonitazine, edonitazine is being put in fentanyl. It's being made in labs in China and being put in fentanyl. That's why we're seeing massive deaths. But one thing I'll say is that the illicit drug supply is so tainted now, you don't know what you're getting, LJ. That's why it's really dangerous, and parents must communicate with their kids. But unfortunately, our government is sleeping in the White House, and they're not warning the public. And the CDC statistics are horrible. We can't get accurate and timely statistics. So it's a perfect storm brewing on the streets of America. And then if you add the crime, forget about it, LJ.
You know, Special Agent, you've been sounding the alarm on this. We've been doing the same thing. I worry with Halloween coming up and all these candies that they're making. That's not really candy, it's the drugs. Sir, thank you so much for joining the program.